Question 4 is some examples of muscle strengthening exercises. Now, I've talked about most of them, but I just want to talk about them in a little bit more detail. So as we've talked about, we've got the simple, safe exercises. So bicep curls, lateral raises, tricep extensions. These are obviously upper body. With regards to lower body exercises, it would be squats, so shallow squats, again starting at body weight and building up to weight. Then we would look at what's called a Romanian deadlift, which is a deadlift, but you don't go down to the floor and pick it up off the floor. The weight is raised off the floor and you sort of pick it up from let's just say a standing position, and then again you can build that range of movement. Again, you can start with a lighter weight with that type of exercise because you're picking it up from a standing position. You can start with like lunges, so forward lunges, back lunges, side lunges, walking lunges. Obviously, what you then do is you start then bringing in a little bit more risk of tripping and falling. With all the exercises that I've talked about, with the squats and the deadlift, you've got both feet on the floor and they are planted. With the upper body exercises, bicep curls, lateral raises, pulls, pushes, you can do that stood up with your feet on the floor, or you can do that sat down. So again, there's that safety element to it. What you can then start to think about are the building up of the weight. So as we build up the weight, with regards to pushing overhead, what we want to do is we want to have some kind of rack, so we can start with the weight in this position and push up over the head. So you would have the weight raised up to shoulder height. You pick it up off the rack and then you push up. Because if we have to pick up that weight from the floor, we have to bring it up to that position. And what happens then is you can't necessarily lift the weight into that position that you can then push over your head. So it means that when you push over the head, you're not using as heavy a weight. So when we are thinking about exercise like that, we really need to start with the weight in the position where we are going to perform it from. So with an overhead press, we would start from this position. With regards to lower body exercises, again, we would want to start certainly with a squatting exercise with a back squat. So a back squat, which is with a bar on the back, like so. And again, we would need a rack for that because you may be able to squat a heavy weight, but if you haven't got the rack to do that, you've then got to lift it up off the floor, up over your head and onto your back. And obviously that's going to take upper body strength to do that. And as a general rule, your lower body is much stronger than your upper body. So when you lift it up over the head, that weight isn't going to be heavy enough for your legs at some point. So we would need some sort of rack to put that on, so we can put it on the back and then we can squat up and down. And then we've got the deadlift, which is a little bit easier, which is why it's such a useful exercise, is because then the weight is on the floor and we pick it up off the floor. So if there is one exercise to do, it would be the deadlift, because you can put it on the floor and you can pick it up off the floor, which is, something that everyone has an ability to do. Now, with regards to the exercise technique, it may require you to lift the weight ever so slightly off the floor, because you may not have the range of movement to get all the way down into that position. So with regards to the types of exercises or example exercises you would do, you would start with both feet on the floor and you would go, or seated for upper body, as I've mentioned, bicep curls, lateral raise, shoulder press or overhead press type of exercises from that seated position or standing position. Then it would be squats, deadlifts. They would be the main two exercises. You can add walking lunges, back lunges, side lunges, forward lunges in as well. But then what you're doing is you're then just increasing the risk of trips and falls. But generally, those exercises should be fine as well, because in the years that I've been doing it, I don't think anyone has ever fallen over when they've done a walking lunge. They may have lost their balance or something like that, but I don't think anyone's ever fallen over. So they should be fine, but that risk is there. So with regards to example exercises, it's very much a pushing exercise, a pulling exercise, a squatting exercise, and a lifting exercise. And that will give you the resistance required to be able to challenge the muscles, to pull on the bones, to build up the bone health and build up the bone density.